In January 2013, Valdosta, Georgia, became the epicenter of one of the most puzzling and controversial deaths in modern U.S. history. Kendrick Johnson, a 17-year-old student at Lowndes High School, was found dead inside a rolled-up gym mat in the school's gymnasium. What began as a seemingly tragic accident quickly evolved into a case shrouded in mystery, conflicting evidence, and allegations of cover-ups. For more than a decade, Kendrick's family has fought tirelessly for answers, keeping his story alive as they seek justice. Despite multiple investigations and legal battles, the case remains unresolved and continues to captivate the public. The discovery, a scene that raised immediate questions. On January 11, 2013, students at Lowndes High School discovered Kendrick Johnson's body in an upright wrestling mat stored in the gymnasium. He had been reported missing the previous day after failing to return home from school. According to the initial investigation, Kendrick had attempted to retrieve a pair of shoes stored inside the rolled-up mat, slipped, and became stuck. Authorities ruled his death an accident caused by positional asphyxia. However, this explanation raised immediate questions. The rolled-up mat had a diameter of approximately 14 inches, and Kendrick's shoulders were 19 inches wide. How could he have squeezed into such a narrow space? Moreover, his shoes were found at the bottom of the mat, yet another pair of shoes was placed on top of his legs, an arrangement that seemed inconsistent with the official narrative. From the very beginning, these discrepancies fueled suspicions that Kendrick's death was not an accident. Conflicting autopsy reports. Accident or homicide? The first autopsy, conducted by the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, supported the theory of accidental death. The official report stated that Kendrick's body showed no signs of trauma and that positional asphyxia was the likely cause of death. This finding infuriated Kendrick's family, who believed that investigators had rushed to conclusions without thoroughly examining the evidence. Convinced that foul play was involved, the family sought a second opinion. In June 2013, the Johnsons hired a private pathologist to perform a second autopsy. The results were shocking. The private pathologist determined that Kendrick had died from blunt force trauma to the neck, a conclusion that directly contradicted the original findings. According to this report, the injuries were consistent with being struck by a heavy object, further suggesting that Kendrick's death was not accidental. Third autopsy, conducted in 2018, reinforced the findings of the second. It confirmed that Kendrick's death was due to non-accidental blunt force trauma. These conflicting reports intensified the family's belief that authorities had covered up the true cause of their son's death. The missing organs. A disturbing discovery. In a chilling twist, Kendrick's body was exhumed in 2013 for the second autopsy, and the Johnson family made a horrifying discovery. Kendrick's internal organs were missing, and his body cavity had been stuffed with crumpled newspaper. The funeral home that handled Kendrick's body claimed the organs were too decomposed to preserve and were disposed of during the autopsy. They defended the use of newspaper as a standard practice to fill the body cavity. This revelation only deepened the Johnson family's suspicions. They accused authorities of tampering with evidence to conceal the true cause of death. Forensic experts noted that while the disposal of organs is not unusual, it is highly irregular for organs to be discarded without proper documentation, raising serious concerns about transparency and accountability in the investigation. Surveillance footage, gaps, and missing evidence. Surveillance footage from the school's gym was initially presented as evidence to support the accidental death theory. However, upon closer inspection, glaring inconsistencies in the footage raised more questions. The video showed Kendrick entering the gym at around 1:09 p.m. on January 10, 2013, but there was no footage showing what happened next. Experts who analyzed the footage noted that significant gaps existed, with hours of footage missing from several cameras. This led to allegations that the video had been deliberately edited to hide crucial evidence. The school and law enforcement denied any tampering, attributing the gaps to technical issues with the surveillance system. These discrepancies further eroded public trust in the investigation and reinforced the belief that Kendrick's death was not adequately investigated. Legal battles. A family's relentless pursuit of justice. The Johnson family's fight for justice has been marked by numerous legal battles. In 2015, they filed a $100 million civil lawsuit against 38 individuals, including classmates, school officials, and law enforcement officers. The lawsuit alleged a conspiracy to cover up Kendrick's murder and claimed that officials had failed to properly investigate potential suspects. The Johnsons specifically accused two brothers, both students at Lowndes High School, of involvement in Kendrick's death, though no charges were ever filed against them. The case faced significant setbacks. The lawsuit was ultimately withdrawn, and the family was ordered to pay over $292,000 in legal fees to the defendants. The judge accused the Johnsons of fabricating evidence, a claim they vehemently denied. Despite this setback, the family continued to push for accountability, undeterred by the mounting challenges. Reopened investigation and renewed hope. In 2021, Lowndes County Sheriff Ashley Polk reopened the investigation, citing public pressure and the family's relentless advocacy. Over 17 boxes of evidence were reviewed, and the sheriff's office conducted interviews with individuals previously involved in the case. However, in January 2022, Sheriff Polk announced that the review found no evidence of foul play and reaffirmed the original ruling of accidental death. The Johnson family rejected these findings, accusing the sheriff's office of conducting a biased investigation. They pointed to the lack of new forensic testing and the failure to examine critical evidence, such as the gaps in the surveillance footage and the missing organs. The family's disappointment was shared by supporters nationwide, who criticized the decision as another attempt to sweep the case under the rug. Public support and advocacy. Kendrick Johnson's case has inspired widespread activism, with rallies, marches, and social media campaigns demanding justice. The Johnson family has organized numerous events to keep Kendrick's story in the public eye. In August 2024, hundreds of supporters gathered in Atlanta for a march, emphasizing the need for transparency and systemic reform. The Kendrick Johnson Foundation, established by the family, continues to support other families who have experienced similar tragedies. The case has also been the subject of extensive media coverage, including the documentary Finding Kendrick Johnson, released in 2021. The film, which delves into the alleged cover-ups and systemic failures in the investigation, has helped sustain public interest in the case. 11 years after Kendrick Johnson's death, critical questions remain unanswered. Why were Kendrick's organs discarded without documentation? Why were there gaps in the surveillance footage? Were potential suspects thoroughly investigated? These lingering mysteries fuel ongoing debates about the integrity of the investigation and the justice system's ability to provide closure for grieving families. The broader impact. A call for systemic reform. The Kendrick Johnson case has highlighted systemic flaws in the handling of suspicious deaths, particularly those involving young black men. Advocates argue that the case underscores the need for independent oversight of death investigations, improved transparency in handling evidence, and stricter protocols for conducting autopsies. Kendrick's story has become a rallying cry for justice and a symbol of the broader fight against systemic inequities in the justice system. And that's the untold story of Kendrick Johnson, a mystery that still grips the nation. If you found this deep dive intriguing, hit that like button to show support, and don't forget to subscribe for more riveting stories that uncover hidden truths. Stay curious, stay informed, and we'll catch you in the next one.